I sent him a private video in lingerie the night before our wedding, and he screened it for his groomsmen on a projector like it was the opening act to his last night of freedom. That wasn't the plan. The plan was soft, romantic, just a little spicy send-off. A surprise video filmed in my favorite silk robe, shot in candlelight with actual effort put into it, tripod, lighting, the whole Pinterest board mood. I whispered things to him, tender things, intimate things, things that would have made even my therapist blush. I told him in the note, "Watch this alone before you fall asleep. I want the last thing you see before becoming my husband to be the reason why." Apparently, the reason why was because all my friends wanted a good laugh. Because instead of watching it quietly in a hotel room with a whiskey and his heart cracked open, he airdropped it to a group chat and played it on a goddamn projector in the middle of a whiskey-fueled bachelor party in a rented Airbnb, next to a neon sign that said, "One more ride." I found out because it ended up on TikTok. Not the video itself, thank God, but a reaction video. Some genius filmed the group watching it. 30 seconds of dudes hooting and whistling while I coo into the camera, full heart, full lips, full trust. And the caption, "Bro, about to marry a certified wife send-off queen." Certified wife. Like I was a fucking baseball card. I would have never seen it if my maid of honor hadn't sent me the link. "Girl, is this you?" And there I was, not my body but my voice. The audio from my video echoing from that projector, slightly distorted, but recognizable. Every word I thought was just for him. Shared like barroom entertainment. You know that moment when your spine goes cold? When your face drains and your throat tightens, like your body is trying to collapse in on itself. Yeah, that. It hit me in the middle of getting my nails done for our wedding. I left mid-manicure. The nail tech thought I was going into labor. I was just watching the future I thought I was marrying go up in digital smoke. If you asked anyone, we were that couple. High school sweethearts turned college soulmates turned adult codependents with joint tax returns and matching camping gear. We had our Spotify wedding playlist curated before we even got engaged. His mom already had me saved as daughter-in-law 2 Thanksgivings ago. And I loved him. I really, truly did. Not the fairy tale kind of love, the ugly, real, takes-work kind. The kind that holds space for his Sunday hangovers and my spirals about turning 30 without a book deal. We were building something. A home, a life, a shared Prime account. And yeah, we weren't perfect. He wasn't the most emotionally fluent man alive. He once described our intimacy as comfortable, which made me feel like I was being compared to sweatpants. He had friends I didn't trust, guys who still said no homo in 2024 and treated women like a flavor of entertainment, not humans. But he always kept them separate. Bachelor parties, boys' weekends, I let him have them. I wanted him to have them. I didn't want to be that fiancé. You know the one, checking his location, FaceTiming at 1 a.m., showing up in group chats like the boss's daughter at a frat party. So when he said he was heading to a cabin Airbnb in Big Bear with the boys, I smiled and packed him a cooler. I slipped a tiny envelope into his bag. Inside was a note and a USB drive with the video. "Private just for you, the night before forever." It wasn't graphic. It wasn't porn. It was sensual. Loving, me in my favorite robe, some candles, my hair done the way he liked, soft music, whispered promises, a few slow teases, just enough to make him ache, not enough to make him ashamed. It took me 4 takes to get it right. I wanted to give him something no one else had ever seen. Turns out everyone saw it. Okay, not the video itself, but enough. That TikTok, it was blowing up. Hundreds of comments, thousands of likes. A legend. This is husband behavior. That's how you marry up boys. Wife material with bonus content. And me. I was just trying to get a fill on my French tips, while the internet turned my vulnerability into a fucking highlight reel. I called him. He didn't pick up. Of course he didn't. He was busy being celebrated for violating me. So I texted, "Did you show the video?" His reply, 20 minutes later, "Babe, chill, it wasn't like that." Oh, really? How exactly was it then? No answer. I looked at the TikTok again, froze it, zoomed in. There he was, in the corner of the screen, holding the remote, smirking. And then saying, "Gotta show the boys what I'm about to lose, right?" Lose? Like I was dying. Like I was a strip of dignity he had to burn before locking it down. And suddenly, the entire engagement felt like a setup. A long, slow con, where the prize was my complete humiliation. But I wasn't gonna cry into my wedding dress. No. I had one more day, one final move. And I was about to rewrite the ending to this story in real time, with a guest list, a venue, and a twist no one saw coming. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was devastated. Because I was activated. You ever reach a point where heartbreak short-circuits into strategy? That was me. Lying in bed, veil on the closet door, bouquet in the fridge, mentally burning the whole day down before it even began. He still hadn't called. Still hadn't apologized. Still hadn't said a single real sentence acknowledging what he'd done. What he chose to do. Because let's be clear, this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a moment that got out of hand. This was a grown man with a remote in one hand and my trust in the other, choosing to turn my intimacy into a punchline for his bachelor party. And then, making it viral. And his friends. Just as guilty. The one who filmed the TikTok, his name was Drew. He once told me I was a good sport for not being one of those controlling girls. Drew, who still lived with his mom and bragged about sleeping with 3 girls in the same Airbnb rental. I guess now it's 4, me included, apparently. So I started planning. Not the wedding. The response. I called my maid of honor, Nicole, who, bless her rage, answered on the first ring and said, "Are we canceling the wedding or lighting it on fire?" I said both. She said, "I'm in." We met up before sunrise, Starbucks in one hand, vengeance in the other. And together, we did something no jilted bride had ever dared do before. We moved the wedding. Not to another venue. To the exact bar where the bachelor party had happened. The Airbnb had been down the road from a place called the Coyote Tap. Neon lights, karaoke stage, sticky floors, very bro-coded. We called the manager. Nicole said it was a surprise pop-up bachelorette brunch/performance piece, and the man literally said, "I don't know what that means, but I'm intrigued." We bought decorations, signs, confetti, a mini cake that said, "This is what you lost." Nicole rallied our guests. The girls came in dresses. The guys came confused but loyal. My aunt brought a Bluetooth speaker and a cooler full of mimosas. And me. I wore the dress. But not the wedding dress. I wore the silk robe from the video. The one he loved, the one he ruined. But I wore it with combat boots. And underneath, a white tee with iron-on letters that read, "Not your bachelor content." We walked into that bar like we owned it. And guess what? They were still there. Him, his groomsmen, hungover, stumbling over beer-soaked bar stools. And Drew. Drew's face went pale. I grabbed the mic on the karaoke stage and said, "Hi, quick update, the wedding is now here. Hope everyone dressed accordingly." Then I looked at my not-fiancé. And said, "Since you showed them my video, I figured I'd show them the real ending." The bar went dead quiet. Not the dramatic movie kind of quiet, no gasps, no shattered glass, no record scratch. Just that awkward, sticky silence when people realize they're no longer at a party. They're at a reckoning. I stood on the karaoke stage, robe tied tight, combat boots planted, heart punching behind my ribs. I could feel my legs trembling, but my voice. Solid. I sent him a private video. I said, scanning the room. A gift, something special, meant for him, and he played it like a trailer before a Marvel movie. Full projector, all his boys, and one of them even put it on TikTok. A few of the guys looked down. Guilty. Others smirked. But he, my almost husband. He just stood there, one hand in his pocket, the other wrapped around a beer he no longer had the right to hold. I told him to watch it alone, I continued. I said, just for you, and he turned it into a performance. I turned to the bartender. Hey, you got HDMI? He nodded slowly. Nicole, bless her Scorpio soul, pulled a laptop out of her bag. We brought something, she said. Don't worry, it's not that video. We plugged in. And up on the same wall where my body had once flickered, soft and exposed, we played his moment. The TikTok. The one with the reactions. The hoots. The laughter. His face. His words. Gotta show the boys what I'm about to lose, right? The whole room watched it. But this time, with me there. In the robe. In the room. As the actual human being in the video. When it ended, I stepped forward again. So I figured, I said, if you're gonna show them who I was in private, then let's show them who you are in public. People started clapping. It started as a trickle. Nicole, my cousin, the bartender. Then a wave. A woman from the back shouted, say it louder. So I did. I loved you, I trusted you. I gave you something sacred, and you turned it into a group chat punchline. He finally spoke. Babe, can we talk outside? I smiled. I'm not your babes. He moved toward me. I stepped back. This is my bachelorette party now. Go cry into someone else's beer. Then I grabbed the cake. This is what you lost, and held it up to him like an offering. I saved you a slice. And I smashed it in his face. The crowd erupted. Someone turned on the karaoke machine. Someone else handed me a drink. My aunt yelled, we raised her right. And Ethan. He wiped frosting from his eyes and stormed out, followed by Drew and a trail of cowards who couldn't handle a woman refusing to stay quiet. And me. I stayed. I danced. I took photos in my robe. And I toasted to the best almost wedding I never had. Later that night, after the cake was gone and my voice was hoarse from yelling Lizzo lyrics into a karaoke mic, I found myself alone in the bar's bathroom. The tile floor was sticky, my boots were scuffed, my robe smelled faintly like cheap champagne and revenge, and in the mirror, I looked not broken. Not radiant either, let's not romanticize it. But clear, wide-eyed, calm in that dangerous way a woman gets after she finally stops trying to protect a man from the consequences of his own behavior. Still, when the door shut behind me and the noise of the party dulled, the silence hit like a wave. Because yeah, I had won. I made the moment mine. I reclaimed the narrative. I turned public humiliation into performance art. But the pain is still there. Because that video wasn't just lingerie and soft lighting. It wasn't some thirst trap or bachelorette stunt. It was me, vulnerable, trusting, trying to give something special to someone I thought was my forever. And he made it a joke. A group joke. And worse, I think he really thought I'd be flattered. Like, look how hot my fiancé is, bro. Like I should have been honored to be the main event at his sad little masculinity funeral. I sat on the toilet lid and let my head fall into my hands. Not crying, not exactly. Just unraveling. Grieving the version of me that still believed intimacy was a safe language. That still believed a man who said, "You're my home," would actually protect the parts of me I let him live in. And the comments didn't help. Because once the TikTok blew up, the DMs came. Some guys told me I was overreacting. That it was just a video. That at least he didn't cheat. Cool, love that the bar is on the floor and on fire. Other guys, worse. Got a link. Do you take requests? If you're not gonna marry him, I will. I wanted to disappear. But I didn't. Because somewhere in the comments, buried between the trolls and frat bots, were women saying, "This happened to me." Mine sent my pics to his group chat. I never even told anyone until now. And suddenly, I wasn't just a bride in a bathrobe. I was a mirror, a megaphone, a big blinking sign that said, "Stop calling it flattery when it's exploitation." So I made another video. From the bathroom, robe and all, to the women who have had their bodies turned into entertainment without consent, this one's for you. It wasn't loud, it wasn't slick, but it was real. And by morning, 1.7 million views. Comments like, "She didn't break, she broadcasted." The wedding wasn't canceled, it evolved. New rule, no man gets the robe if he can't respect the soul inside it. And that hit harder than any toast ever could. 2 days later, he showed up at my door. Suitcase in hand. I swear to God, I thought he was delivering someone else's Uber Eats. He looked wrecked, puffy eyes, hoodie that probably hadn't seen soap since the bachelor party, and the same sheepish expression I'd seen 100 times before, like if he blinked slow enough, I'd forget everything. "Can we talk?" he asked. I didn't move. I didn't invite him in. I just leaned against the doorframe and said, "What part? The part where you played me like a trailer, or the part where your buddy turned me into a trending sound?" He sighed. I didn't know Drew was recording. "You knew you were pressing play," I shot back. "You knew what was on that video. You knew what I asked." "It was just dumb, a joke. I didn't think it would blow up like this." That sentence. I didn't think it would blow up like this. Men like him don't feel guilty for what they do. They feel guilty when it goes public. I said, "You didn't think at all." And then he said it. The thing he thought would save him. "I didn't think you'd be this mad." I almost laughed. "This mad?" I repeated. "You don't get to measure my rage when you cashed it in for laughs." He tried to step closer. I held my ground. I was trying to show them how lucky I am. "No," I said, "you were trying to show them you still could. That even on your last night out, you had something they wanted. That I was still an object to own, not a partner to honor." He looked like he wanted to say something, but for once in his life, he had no words to spin. So I gave him mine. I canceled the venue. I told my parents. I sent a thank you message to every guest who showed up at the bar and not the altar. And by the way, my video, it's gone. I deleted every trace. You don't get to keep it. You don't get to keep me. A silence. Then, so that's it. I smiled. "No, this is it." And I handed him an envelope. Inside, a printed photo of me on the karaoke stage, holding the mic in my robe and combat boots. Behind me, the crowd was cheering. The cake was half smashed. My face was mid-smirk. On the back, I'd written, "This was the only wedding I needed." He left. I watched him from the window as he climbed into a rideshare, still holding the envelope like it might explode. And in a way, it already had. Because when men think they've humiliated you, the last thing they expect is for you to monetize the moment. That night, I posted my final video. A stitched clip of the TikTok that started it all, with Drew's voice over my own, cut with scenes from the bar, the karaoke, the toast, the robe. Caption: He wanted to show them what he was about to lose, so I let him. I didn't get married. I got clarity. And honestly, that's better. It's wild how close I came to giving my whole life to someone who saw my body as entertainment and my love as content. Who didn't just betray me, but tried to make a joke out of it. Who thought the deepest part of me was a party trick. And the worst part, I used to think I was lucky to have him. No, really. I used to lie awake next to him and think, wow, he picked me. But the thing is, when a man picks you without ever respecting you, It's not love. It's marketing. It's a brand partnership. It's proximity to intimacy without ever having to earn it. I gave him trust. He gave me a trending sound. And somewhere out there, there's still that tick-tock. That 30-second clip of laughter and betrayal and cheap whiskey. But you know what else is out there? Me. Telling the whole damn story. With my voice. In my words. Unfiltered. Unapologetic. Unmuted. Because if he wanted to make me the star of a show, I figured I might as well own the stage. The wedding's off, the dress is returned, the robe framed, no joke. And the next man, who thinks I'm just another moment to show off. He's going to have to watch me walk away first. Because now I know. Love is never loud when it's real. It's private, it's sacred, it's safe. And until I find that, I'm keeping the mic. Because I might not be a wife. But I am a fucking story. And I tell it better than anyone else ever could. Subscribe to my Mia's Stories YouTube channel for raw, emotional stories and authentic insights that encourage healing, growth, and understanding. Don't forget to be part of a supportive space where stories inspire and lessons resonate. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. Your opinion truly matters to us, and we're here for you.